Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. And our top story today, America's failing grade in financial literacy. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, David Pickler is the Executive Director of the American Public Education Foundation. David, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is great. And we're going to talk today about a report issued by the foundation that focuses on financial literacy in public education. And I don't want to steal your thunder, David. How did America's public education system do when it comes to educating people about financial literacy?
Well, Jeff, the unfortunate news is that we're not doing real well. In fact, 66% of all the states that we surveyed, and that was all of them plus Puerto Rico, received grades of C, D, or F. And so we really believe that America's schools are failing in their responsibility to really prepare children to be able to compete in the basics of our economy. And that's one of the reasons why we did this report card. This is the second report card that we did. We did one 2 years ago. And while we did see some improvement, there still is a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you mentioned that you covered all 50 states plus the District of Columbia, and you added Puerto Rico this year. And the majority of the states had C averages, which, look, that's average. I guess that's better than D and F. But there, as you said, there are ways to go. Is there any thought in your mind as to maybe why our system is not doing as well in terms of financial literacy and getting people educated about what I would think reading, writing, and arithmetic and financial education seem to be cornerstones of human existence?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Jeff. When we really think about what is the role of public education, it used to be we talk about, as you said, the 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic. Then we went through a period of time when the total focus was on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, math, all of which is great. But at the end of the day, I believe, and again, I spent nearly a quarter century of my life in public education as an elected school board member, as a national advocate, as a local volunteer, as a parent. And I believe that the fundamental responsibility of schools is to prepare children for learning, for leadership, for life. We're living today in a world of exponential change. And one of the most important things that we can do to prepare our children is to teach them how to make good choices. One of the most important things that we've seen over the past several years is the role of high schools and of public education of looking at the evolution of our workforce and the fact that far too many of our children are coming out of colleges overburdened with student loan debt, oftentimes with degrees and diplomas that have very little, if any, merit or any real value in the marketplace. Because for so many years, schools had this mindset that's every day, every child, college bound. That was the goal, as opposed to really preparing kids for life and preparing kids to make good choices. And that's one of the reasons why we feel so strongly about financial education, about financial literacy, starting at the earliest grades, because it's not just about teaching kids about assets and liabilities and credit cards and mortgages and making sure that your paycheck is right. It's really about empowering kids to be able to make good choices. And that's one of the reasons why we are so strongly involved at the middle grades, of helping kids understand differences and some basics about careers, about opportunities. So when they go to high school, they're really armed with that ability to make good choices. And then hopefully having good and robust curriculum that can give them the tools necessary so that they can be successful in our economy. Far too many kids are coming out of our schools, oblivious to this, and they're vulnerable to being victims of fraud, of credit card abuse, of taking on student loan debt where it's really not appropriate. And that's why really we believe that financial education is that basic building block of making good choices, whether it be about education, whether it be about your life.
David, let me ask you about, as you were talking, I'm thinking about some of the recent meme stock investing. We've all heard about GameStop. We've all heard about cryptocurrency. And let me ask you this. This is kind of an off-the-cuff question, but is that kind of symptomatic? Is that meme stock investing where there's no fundamental analysis and you're just hearing it from your buddy or friend like, hey, we should get into GameStop, or hey, we should buy a little Bitcoin or Tether, not being educated? Is that symptomatic of what you're describing?
Well, it really is. And, it's all about, everybody's excited about the fad of the moment. And, we as Americans embrace that. I mean, we celebrate celebrity. We're the nation that the mood ring and the pet rock and the Beanie Babies. There's always been a fad. And if you think about the baby boomers, you think about the millennials, you think about the Gen Xers, we've all kind of been raised in this immediate gratification, short-term environment. And if you think about what's happened with social media, it's certainly just been another evolution of this revolution of how people look at the world. And we're no longer looking at the fundamentals of making good choices, of learning about living within your means, about managing credit, about making sure that you're not taking on too much debt, about understanding, about making good financial choices. We're all excited about the fun stuff. Why have the lotteries been so successful over the course of the past 10 years as a means to raise money for states? It's because everybody wants it today. It's that pursuit of immediate gratification, not going out and doing the hard work. Everybody wants to come out of college or come out of school and immediately be in the C-suite. They want to be the chief executive officer as opposed to starting out and doing the basic work. The reality is financial literacy is not sexy, but it's effective. And it's important, and I believe it's an essential ingredient of our ability to prepare our children for this evolving workforce of the 21st century. And it really, I believe, once again, is a fundamental responsibility of our schools to be able to ensure that our children have the tools, have the skills necessary to be competitive. Because, the mindset that has spurred, crypto and meme stocks and everything else is that pursuit of the easy answer, the easy solution. And let's go out there and have a lot of fun with it, but not really be concerned about the outcome. Well, at the end of the day, a great financial plan, a great financial future for our country is built upon creating those building blocks, about making sure that our children are prepared and giving them the tools. Because we all understand that if you build a great portfolio, then at the very top of that pyramid, there can be room for those speculative ideas. It can be the room for the meme stocks and the cryptos and things of that nature. Those are the cherry on top of the sundae. They're not the fundamental elements. And far too many people are trying to build a financial future built on shifting sand. And in many cases, when we think about crypto, on virtually nothing there at all. And that's problematic for us as a nation. It's problematic for how we're preparing our children.
Well, David, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to David about steps that states and local school boards can take to improve financial education in their local communities. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score, a credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to David Pickler. He's Executive Director of the American Public Education Foundation. David, thanks for staying with us this morning.
Glad to be here. A lot of fun.
Yeah, this is fun, really important. I think the audience is going to get a lot out of this. Let's talk about next steps. So, you know, the problem oftentimes is that it's so hard to describe this issue, and it's so big in terms of making change that people lose some of the tactical aspects of actually driving change. David, what are some of the things that people in local communities, legislators, regulators, and even just local members of the community can do to enact change and help with teaching financial literacy?
Well, you asked really the right question, Jeff, because anytime that you're trying to enact change, there's so many different ways that you can do it. And while it would be wonderful to assume that all 50 governors and the leadership of DC and Puerto Rico would just have this epiphany that we need to make financial literacy a priority, but the probability that's not going to happen. And so we need to understand how laws are made, how change is really impacted. And it really comes at the ground level. It comes from parents. It comes from community leaders. It comes from business leaders. It comes from people all about understanding that we need to prepare our children for a better tomorrow. We need to have a workforce that is prepared for the challenges of a rapidly evolving global marketplace. And we as parents need to demand more of our public schools. And so talk to your state legislatures. Public education is all about local control. And so what you have the ability to do is you can go to your superintendent, you can go to your school board, and you can demand that they be providing curriculum that really will provide some great financial tools and resources. And there's plenty of great curriculum out there. One of the roles that we play with the American Public Education Foundation is to aggregate and bring together some of the greatest tools that are out there. The Federal Reserve Board has put together some amazing curriculum tools that are out there. And there are many other wonderful courses that are out there. So one place is, again, talk to your superintendent, talk to your school board, and say, what can you do to ensure that my child is given some great educational tools? Go to your state legislators and say, you know what, we need for our state to be a leader in the nation in ensuring that our children are equipped with the tools necessary to compete in this environment. Let's not only require that every school offer some form of financial education, let's make it a standalone course at the high school level. Let's introduce financial literacy in the kindergarten through 8th grade level. Let's continue it through the middle grades. And let's ensure that we're finding some way to ensure that these courses are delivered with efficiency, that we have certain standards for how that is delivered. And let's make it a graduation requirement. And by doing these kinds of things, we're at least giving our children the opportunity to be successful, to have the tools necessary. And we will find that the rewards for this will be exponential for our nation and for our communities.
Yeah, really great point. Great points, I should say, David. And, I've often heard it described that, kind of the only thing really fair is that we all get the same 24 hours and that we all get access to public education. And it's these fundamentals that you're talking about. I mean, finance doesn't change whether you live where you are in Memphis, Tennessee, or in Charlotte, North Carolina. The principles are the same. So if you teach people the principles of history, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and they learn about the principles of finance at any age and continue to learn, they're going to be ahead of the game and put themselves not only ahead in their communities, but ahead others for those jobs of the future.
Well, you're totally right. The world that we've existed with in the last 18 months with COVID has given all of us an opportunity to really revisit our priorities. And certainly we've also seen the impact that the virtual learning has had on education. And I think what it's done is it's given policymakers and local leaders of public education all the way out the country an opportunity to really re-examine their priorities, re-examine, maybe even reinvent what public education is all about. See, one of my basic theories is that public education should partner with local communities in the whole concept of community development. Because if you have the local government and that local school board, that local school system working together in terms of how they are planning for the future development of their community, what types of jobs are they wanting to build? What type of business and industry are they trying to attract and recruit into their community? What are the skill sets that they're looking for their children to have to be able to have that competitive workforce, to be able to then attract those businesses? And then work with those local districts to make sure that you're introducing these concepts in the earliest grades, that you're really bringing them forward to the middle grades, and you're helping kids learn how to make good choices. Because when we think about this concept, this very popular concept of workforce development, one of the most basic levels, the most basic ingredients of workforce development is financial literacy and the ability to prepare children to make good choices. Good choices about their career, good choices about their education, good choices about how they make those decisions about how they'll raise their family to become effective, productive citizens. And that makes our entire country a greater place.
Yeah, and it would eliminate, you think about the pandemic and all the angst, not only around healthcare, but around financial angst that people had. This would go a long way to being the bedrock to support emergency savings, better management of debt, et cetera. David, we're going to have to leave it there. It's it's a great topic, and unfortunately, we don't have enough time to cover more. But look, we look forward to having you back on again very soon, and we'll talk to you very soon. And have a great rest of your morning.
We'd love to join you again. Take care.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement, markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow, so until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.